Good people, it is Tony the Savant. And before we get started, please like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel as well. If you haven't already, please do so now. Subscribe to the channel as I drop content daily, go live daily, stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section, as I'm always intrigued to know what you all have to say about these topics. And ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing a series that I began uh, for my expectations and some general expectations that I've been seeing across the NFL Twitter landscape. Some, a lot of people that I've been talking to. Just an accumulation of my investigations and research. And we're covering the expectations for the 2024-2025 NFL seasons and all the teams within. So today we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this has been a team that I've been supportive of for quite some time. And I know that sounds crazy because I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, right? But, the San Francisco 49ers are a team that I root for because of some of the players that are on the team. One being Brock Purdy. Really love his story, Mr. Irrelevant. And seeing what he's been molding into in his about a year and a half, going on 2 years now as quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think we can really talk much about the 49ers without mentioning Brandon Ayuk, as he has just received his contract extension of 4 years and I believe $120 million as well. So that's I'm very happy for him. I believe in Brandon Ayuk. I was really rooting for him to get his money with the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm happy to see the transpiring of those events. Deebo Samuels, another elite, not just wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. Deebo is a little bit more of an all around type guy, does a little bit of rushing for him. A little bit of everything, So Deebo is an all-purpose football player. I really like his play style, but I'll share some opinions about Debo later. George Kittle, one of the top 10 tight ends in the league, top five, depending on where you at. Um, and not even just the offensive side of the ball. I mean, where are my manners? C-Mac, of course, Christian McCaffrey. I've been very big fan of his, even back when he was a Carolina Panther. I really like Christian McCaffrey's game back then, and I love what he's been able to do in the Bay with the 49ers. And not just the offensive side of the ball, we got to talk about the defense as well. Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Nick Bosa, who was a defensive player of the year, former defensive player of the year, excuse me. Fred Warner, I meant to say, I believe that he has the talent and the goods to be a defensive player of the year. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Um, who else? Shavarius Ward, Lenore, Aaron Banks, Hufanga. These guys this team is loaded, man. I'm gonna just say that this team is loaded. I ain't played Madden in a while, but if I was playing it right now, I would probably be running with the 49ers because I just really am enamored with the entire team. But the 49ers are one of those teams that are always in the mix, always have a good roster. It's been the case for them for the past 10 years since the it's not Aaron Smith, excuse me, Alex Smith era, since the Colin Kaepernick era. I remember those guys had the Frank Gores, Vernon Davis, Navarro, and Bowman. What was it, Bowman? Navarro Bowman? Patrick Willis. I'm thinking of, I might be mixing up the dude, but they've always had a heavy hitting team. And the fact of the matter that they've been to a number of NFC conferences and Super Bowls and lost, haven't been able to get over the hill, is really mind boggling to me because they have the roster to do so. Just looking over some numbers from last season, it's been talking about the players, but as far as the overall team, the San Francisco 49ers are a very interesting team, man. They play very well. Probably top five team during the regular season, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And they kind of take a half a step back during the postseason. Not a big, huge step, nothing that just bounces off the paper to you, but it is of my belief that when you're in the regular season, um, uh, I mean, excuse me, it is of my belief that however you played in the regular season, you got to step it up a half a step, at least in the Super Bowl, like we just seen from Patrick Mahomes and company with the Kansas City Chiefs. As they played one kind of way during the regular season, where everybody had a lot of questions and concerns about the Chiefs during the regular season, but come postseason time, they look like the Chiefs that we knew and loved as far as the championship version, especially talking about 15 and red. But I truly believe the San Francisco 49ers are a great team, but the trend, it seems to me, is that they take a half a step back during the postseason. But just looking over some numbers and rankings for them, total offense for the 49ers, they were second. Passing offense was fourth last season. Rush offense was third, of course, behind C-Mac. Scoring offense was third as well. Red zone offense was first, and third down conversion, they were fourth. So top four in all categories, the major categories anyway, on the offensive side of the ball. On the defense, it's a different story, as the defense was a bit of a middle of the pack last season. They were elite in a couple departments. And as far as total defense, they were eighth. Passing defense, 14th. Rush defense, third. Scoring defense, they were also third in that department. Red zone red zone defense was 16th, and third down conversions was 23rd. And what that tells me is that the 49ers defense was a bend, don't break kind of a defense, but also very, you could slice them up. You could slice them up if you were one of the more elite players. I'm trying to think of the games last season. I just can't think of them off the top of my head or whatever. But as far as I know, even with L'Jarius Sneed, that was an elite, uh, secondary player for him. Excuse me. They had their flaws in that department, but I say L'Jarius Sneed. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the Chiefs. I gotta stop. I'm watching the top 100 NFL list, and they just put L'Jarius on there. But anyway, my apologies. The 49ers secondary could be diced up, but they were elite from the linebackers and to the defensive line, um, more so in the rush defense. But that passing defense was suspect, and their third down conversions was very suspect as well, which would kind of reflect the passing defense. As far as that half a step I was talking about that they take backwards, if you just look at the numbers, the 49ers last season, from regular season to postseason. They were elite in a couple categories. Red zone offense stayed pretty good, as far as them, moving up significantly in that department, and also third down conversions. They went from 47% to 57%. In third down conversion rates, percentages. And as far as the red zone, they already boasted the first the number one ranked offense in the red zone. They went from 67%, or excuse me, a 67% success rate to an 83.3% success rate in the postseason. So it just seems that they're elite in some departments, especially around that time where it matters. But overall, their total offense takes a step back, from averaging 398 yards to 384. Passing offense goes from 257 to 251, which isn't too crazy. The rush offense as well, 140, goes from 140 a game to 133 yards a game. The scoring offense stays about the same, 28 to 29 in that department. The defense falls off as well. The total defense goes from averaging 303 yards a game to 386, which is 80-yard difference, just on the richest scale of things. The passing defense goes from 214 to 227. Rushing defense, which they were third in that department, but from regular season to postseason, the rushing offense for the opponents, they're able to double their production, as they average 89 yards during the season, just a shade under 90. But the Russian defense gives up 159 yards a game. Well, at least they did so last season in the postseason, which is a world's difference. Scoring defense, they pretty much stay elite in that department. Go from 17 points a game to 26. So they do elevate their game in that department. And again, in the red zone, the defense steps up significantly as they go from a 54% success rate in from holding off opponents' offenses to an 83.3%. Another uh, incredible margin there. And third down conversions. You go from a 40% success rate to a 52% success rate. So um, just the 49ers are a funny team to me. They are able to find success in a lot of ways and a lot of facets of the game, but when they're bad, they're bad. I liken them to the Boston Celtics of the NBA. Just as far as a team that has a good roster, we've seen different versions of these teams at this point. Just years and years of good rosters, great players. No doubt about that. But both of these teams until 2024, the Boston Celtics were able to capture themselves their 18th franchise championship banner. And the 49ers are in that kind of company as well, where they always have a good team, they're always in the mix. They're always in the biggest games, when it comes to either the NFC conference championship game or the actual Super Bowl. The 49ers are always one of those teams that's in the mix and make it to one of those games, if not win one of those games. But it just seems to me these past few years, with all the iterations that they've had, from the Alex Smith to the Colin Kaepernick to the Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G led this team. Well, at least was the quarterback of one of the versions of the 49ers teams. So there's been so many different kind of mix and matches that the 49ers have had, and just never able to crack the code into winning a Super Bowl, another Super Bowl, as this is one of the storied franchises of the NFL. So, it's kind of interesting to see when they're in the mix. It's always very interesting, what I was trying to say. But anyway, another thing that comes into play is the money for all these guys. Again, Brandon Ayuk was able to capture himself a 4-year, $120 million extension, keeping him in San Francisco, I believe, until the 2027-2028 season. So maybe even a year longer than that. But, very happy for him. But next season, you got Deebo Samuels up for another extension. You also have some defensive players that I mentioned: Charvarius Ward, Trent Williams. I haven't even mentioned him yet. Crazy, but he's up for an extension. I believe that they're in talks with him right now to get that done. So basically what I'm saying is this year is the year that the San Francisco 49ers have to get it done. I have the same sort of urgency for them as I had for the Boston Celtics last year. Y'all can't just keep putting out these teams and not having nothing to show for it, especially now that we're coming down to crunch time when everybody's needing to get paid. Of course, I know they got Nick Bosa taken care of last year. I believe Deebo Samuels was taken care of the year before that. And of course, we all know about the Brandon Ayuk news by now, but it's just a matter of the fact that everybody's going to want to get paid, and then you don't want to lose this championship roster due to their market value. Because if they're asking for money, if they're deserving of a big paycheck from the 49ers, I'm pretty sure there's somebody else out there in the NFL that would pay them a little bit more just to get their services and build a team around them. So you would hate for the free agency to start to come into play to break up this team, but that's going to be the case. That's going to be the case if they don't get the job done. I can see this year, because now next season you're going to have to pay Brock Purdy. I'm not sure if next season, but eventually within the next season or two, pay Brock Purdy. And I know that there's some kind of funny money that something that goes on for the guys that weren't drafted in the first round. Guys that's like drafted in the second round or beyond, I believe, or the first 2 rounds. Don't get me wrong, but I remember reading in the CBA for the NFL that guys that weren't drafted in the first round or two, they're up for extensions before, they're eligible for their extensions earlier than the big, the guys that get drafted in the first round and all that kind of stuff. So Brock Purdy's knocking on the door for his payday, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get market value or something close to it. We all know how the quarterback market looks right now, but all in all, again, I do support the 49ers, and I hate to say that because they've been a thorn in my side for my Green Bay Packers, as Aaron Rodgers never defeated them in the postseason. In his era, I'm not even positively sure if he beat them at all ever, even in the regular season. I think we may have gotten them once or twice, um, but yeah, in the postseason, we never beat the 49ers. And Jordan Love started off his era with a defeat in the postseason to the 49ers. So they're a bit of a thorn in my side, but I can see that they've been really, putting this thing together for some years now, and I can support that. I like teams that build up from scratch, draft good, and are able to win with that team that they accumulated or assembled, I should say. But my expectations for these guys are Super Bowl, man, nothing less. I believe that the 49ers need to go on a bit of a revenge tour this season, okay, and get the job done. Stop playing. Get these guys, a championship. Get the San Francisco 49ers. It's just one of those historic franchises, that, when they win, it adds a little bit more to the NFL historic. As much just like if the Steelers win, the Cowboys, just Green Bay Packers, one of those, historic franchises. I would say the Bears, but ha 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 ha. Hey man, I don't know if the Bears will ever be ready. They might with Caleb Williams. We'll see what happens, but. Yeah, man, I think the 49ers are definitely eligible and ready for a Super Bowl run. On top of that, I think that we can get probably a third installment of this Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers matchup. And if they are able to do that, they got to do everything. They got to correct a lot of mistakes that they made last season. Of course, the Dre Greenlaw injury and then the Super Bowl was just, heartbreaking, unforeseen. He was pretty much putting the clamps on Travis Kelce. It wasn't until that injury that Travis Kelce was able to, get his production. But all in all, I believe that the San Francisco 49ers are right there, and more so than any other team not named the Kansas City Chiefs. This team is ready for a Super Bowl. So that's just my expectations for them. That's all I got for y'all on this one. Please like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. As well, please subscribe to the channel as I drop content daily. Go live daily. Stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as I'm always intrigued to know what you all have to say about this topic. And one more thing I wanted to add, Christian McCaffrey, man, made a little bit of a note about it earlier, but that man is a him. And right now, I think he's like the undisputed number one option in fantasy football. So I'm doing my fantasy football stuff right now. I've already done one draft for one team, and I believe I got another draft coming up tomorrow. But tell me what y'all think about Christian McCaffrey in the fantasy football world. Do you think he's good for another hot run? I mean, I'm trying to decide if I rock with him or this. Who else was I thinking? Justin Jefferson. One of those two. So tell me what y'all think about that in the comment section as well. I am Tony the Savant. Peace.